start for Manchester United.
The media haven't covered this.
I mean, there was a long conversation you and I had, Paul, in the pub, and I think, Matt, you and I have had it as well, which is, do you want to sign a player that's acting like he's acting? There was a lot of press that was coming out last night, and he made a statement that basically said the club had promised him a move away and they've reneged on it. They're saying they've reneged on it because they haven't found a suitable player that would play in his position. We'll get into that in a minute because I think these lesser clubs are learning where their position is in the game. Are you worried, Paul? Do you want him in the team? Is it not concerned at all?
I think the whole thing's unfortunate the way it's panned out, but it's also understandable. And to your point about him feeling very personally let down because there was an inverted commas agreement, very similar to the language Gyökeres used in his move, when I don't believe it was bravado or pretense. They genuinely felt let down that they had an agreement, and it might not have been written. I think the word gentlemanly agreement was used at the time of that. Add to that, and this is significantly underreported, people have been holding up as almost patron saint style way of how to leave a club. What did he do minutes before the kickoff last night? He went sick. Now, I presume he went sick on advice from either his agent or a request from Arsenal. So all players do it. And all players, I think, are emboldened in this current era and reminded of the power they've got. Is it right? No, it's not right, but it is the modern game. And I think if there's criticism, and I think some of the criticism is fair, I don't think the clubs have conducted themselves across the board particularly well. If Newcastle knew they were going to lose him, if they knew they had an agreement, loose or otherwise, the first thing they should have been doing as soon as the transfer window opened was resolving it. And to leave it until there's less than 3 weeks left just feels like failure, because it's all now out in the open. Everyone's got sour grapes, axes to grind, and it makes everybody look poor. But deep down, boiling it all down, am I bothered about the player, his mentality, his behaviour? I can understand it. I don't think any of that will manifest when he gets to Liverpool. So I'm not concerned in that respect.
What does this mean, guys? I mean, Newcastle are left in a pickle, aren't they? They're let's assume they've got 120 mil in the bank for a player that's got an attitude and an injury problem, but that won't be their issue anymore. They'll be at Liverpool and having a lot of physiotherapy. But Newcastle have to obviously sign somebody. It seems to me that the options that are realistic are Jackson, Watkins, Højlund, or Wissa being more on the wing. But what's your view on Højlund, Matt? I mean, there's a lot of the voices that say he was playing in the wrong system. He is a quality player. It just didn't work out for him at United, and there's no doubt about it. It did work out for him, before he went. So is he a viable option for them, would you think? Or where would you go if you were Newcastle?
I think Højlund can be a good player. I think right now he looks all right. Pre-season games, he looked all right. But last season, I said plenty of times, he wasn't getting the service because we didn't have the players to give him the service. The lad can score goals. He's young. He's had 2 years of leading the line for Man United at a young age, going straight in. And I said at the very beginning, we should have paid a bit of money and signed someone like Harry Kane with Højlund as a backup, so he can find his way in the club, find out what's going on at the club, and also learn.
Would you have Kane now?
Yeah, I would, because he's absolutely proven, and he'll still score 15, 20 goals in the Premier League now, I think. But we should have bought someone like that with experience that Højlund can learn from, gain experience at the club, get comfortable at the club. But he's been thrown in right at the deep end. I think he could be a really good player.
So you're advocating you would keep him?
Keep it. I'd like him to go on loan. Yeah, I don't want to sell him. I'd like him to go on loan. I'd like him to go on loan to Newcastle, or they're talking about Roma or Napoli. I'd like him to go on loan. See how he gets on in the loan deal. Have an option to buy, not an obligation. See how he gets on, and we can call him back.
But keep him in Newcastle for a minute. You know, I mean, I don't know if anyone else can add any other names into the hat, but you got Newcastle, you got Jackson, Watkins, Højlund, Wissa. Wissa's not being really a centre forward. Are they upgrade? They're definitely not upgrades on Isak, are they? But can they do a job, Rooney? Are they panic buys? Is there any other names in the hat that you think would do a job for them?
I don't think any of them are great. When you think about the fact everybody knows they're going to have money in the pocket. I think you were talking earlier about people talking Wissa 60 million plus. That's ridiculous. He's a 35 million pound player tops, I would say. But the other one I think is a no-brainer for Newcastle, given them where they find themselves now. And with that money and that depth of wallet they've got, I'd go Ollie Watkins. I think he'd be perfect for Newcastle.
Well, he's there in the list. As I say, Jackson, Watkins, Højlund, Wissa are the obvious ones that are on the table. I can't think of anyone else.
The only one who stands out at that group. I mean, Jackson's been hopeless at Chelsea. Absolutely hopeless.
But their starting price is 80 million for him.
Oh, Jackson.
Crazy.
I know, not a chance in hell. We'll get into that in a second. Last question on this particular point or topic, Rooney. What do you feel Isak brings to Liverpool? I mean, you know, that's a shame. He's in the door. Forget all the pomp and circumstance. He comes in the door. Do you finally get the sort of elite striker post Bobby? Where do you sit?
He's the real deal, isn't he? He's got composure. He scored a screamer against us from outside of the box last year, and he got a great tap in against us in the final, and he scores everything in between. He can do the lot. He's, I think, and has been for the last 2-3 seasons, the standout, calm, dependable striker in the league. He never looks pressured. He never looks stuck for time. He's got a great finish. And I think once he lands, I think it'll be a revelation. I guess the only thing, like anything, and we've seen it at the start of the season, that really forming those deep, almost telepathic bonds with your teammates is going to take a few weeks, possibly longer. But I have no doubts whatsoever that it'll be a huge success.
Regard for Manchester United, the media haven't covered this.